Hi everyone, it's Paul and welcome to my video for day 4 of the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. Day 3 is now in the books. Today was absolute carnage, wasn't it? 3 winners over, I think, 33 to 1. Fact to file a late withdrawal from the Ryanair chase. It was a tough day. We've got a winner in Wadu, which was always nice to get on the board. Weird starter decisions again, causing havoc. Bambino Fevers, she ran flat, but even by the jockey's admission, got completely messed around at the start, no chance. And even the likes of your Jordan's Cross, etc. I know 6 Mile Bridge didn't win. I went for Jordan's Cross on that. With that stupid start, got left behind, and it was a tough day. But we're doing well for the week, and now we move on to day 4. And day 4 starts with the 120, which is the Triumph Hurdle. Grade 1 over 2 miles exclusively for 4-year-old horses. Now, this has been quite an interesting market in the last 24 hours. Proactive was about 9 to 4, 5 to 2. He has drifted out this evening to around 5 to 1. And to be honest, I was never hugely in the Proactive fan, if I'm honest with you. The Fairy House win, it was good, but it didn't scream of, hey, that was ultra high level piece of form. That form now over the last few days has also taken some knocks as well. Yeah, he is very heavily on the drift here. Minella Study is in here, which is interesting for the Nickel and Ryan Mania partnership. He's the highest rated British horse in here. 3 for 3 over hurdles, including over course and distance, which is really, really handy. The question is, how good can this horse? This is the problem with the 4-year-old, and you do get turn-ups in this, like you've seen, like with the likes of Poniros last year, 100 to 1 winner, has done absolutely nothing since. This horse is rated 193, really, really good horse in the making by the look of it. And as I said, 1 over course and distance. The question is, what's he actually beaten? And the answer is not a lot, but you can only beat what's in front of you. So I think he's the type to run a good race, but is there a possibility something is lurking better than him? Very possibly. So that would temper enthusiasm with a price of, he's 9 to 2 now as well. So I think that's plenty short enough. Maestro Conti for the Skeltons, again, 3 for 3, including at the course. And again, impossible to say just how good this horse is or not. For all, what I would say, his rating is £4 below that of Minella Study already. So that suggests Minella Study's form's a bit better, but the Skeltons do know how to get one ready for Cheltenham, as we've seen on pretty much each day this week. One I really like is Highland Crystal for Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy. Another horse that's 3 for 3. Now, with her, she is obviously a mare, so she gets a very, very valuable weight allowance. So she gets in off 10 stone 9. On all known form, she's one of the highest rated on 138. The question is the ground going to be soft enough for her? There is a lot of rain around Cheltenham, so I think it very well might be. Macho Man's in here for Willie Mullins, Brian Hayes, though that one got smashed well and truly by Proactive last time. It could come on for it, but on balance of form, he's held by that one there. What is making this impossible is Willie Mullins has half of the 20-horse field. Now, as we saw last year as well, it doesn't have to be a first string, second string, or anything string. His 100 to 1 could go and win it. And all of the rest at the bottom of the market on ratings shouldn't be good enough to win a Triumph, if we're being honest. However, as we've seen last year, some horses do dramatically improve for a couple of runs. Now, Minella Academy, another one of Willie Mullins' one here. Danny Mullins taking the ride. He was sold for 370,000 after he won the race at Cork. Hasn't run since and come straight here. Got a very Poniros feel to it, this one. Again, could be anything. By See the Moon, so should go on any ground. I think that one, with Danny Mullins riding, could potentially make the frame. But for the winner, we are going to go with, currently at 4-1, Selma de Veri, another mare, and I think that's going to be important. The mare's allowance gets in off 10 stone 9 as opposed to 11 stone 2 that we are getting with the geldings. This was a very, very good winner in France. And for me, it was the last run at Leopardstown in a Grade 1 on his debut for the yard at the Dublin Racing Festival, which I looked at and thought that was really taken. A bit sticky at the start of the race, took a bit of time to warm up, but towards the end was really motoring. Bit of juice in the ground won't be a problem. And on a second start, I can see this one finding a lot of improvement. I think it is going to be between the two mares, and that is Selma de Veri and Highland Crystal. But based on yard form this week, I am just going to go for the Mullins mare. 1, 2, 3 then for the Triumph Hurdle, Selma de Veri from Highland Crystal. And I'm also going to put in the Minella Academy. I do think that one could be overpriced at 14-1. Again, look for several bookmakers paying top 4 on this. The 2 o'clock is the County Hurdle, 2 mile Grade 3 handicap. Always a nightmare. I don't think you can go far wrong by looking at the 2 yards that have harvested this a lot in the past few years. And that is the Mullins yard and the Skelton yard. But the pick might actually end up surprising you here. Carbo is the favourite. Paul Townend riding for Willie Mullins. Only had one run recently, won really well on reappearance. First trip in a handicap. This could be a top-level group horse at just 6 years old, disguised in a handicap. I really think this could be. Now, the Skeltons, I've got Harry and Dana riding Sinatra here, who has got in off 10 stone 5. Now, he's officially rated 17 less than Carbo, so it would need a big improvement. But as we've seen with the Skeltons and the handicaps this week, they know how to get one ready. Newcomer, strong for the yard, strong record in the race. By walk in the park, so a bit more given the ground will be important. That one should run a good race. Joyeuse is in here as well for Nicky Henderson. Nico de Boinville taking the ride and gets in off 10 stone 7. Has a track record of winning big handicaps like the Betfair Hurdle in the past. Ran better than you would have thought of latest, but they have gone for a change of headgear. And on Burr form for the last couple of years, even though she's got a lovely weight here off 10 stone 7, and the headgear might do something, on the balance, it does have quite a lot of risks attached. The money all day has come for Secret Squirrel for Hughie Morrison, Jonathan Berg taking the ride. Gets in again off 10 stone 5. Running all the big handicaps last season, did really well. Reappeared in a Grade 2 last month, came third, ran well for a long way. And if he has come on for that run, I can understand why the money has been coming for this one. An interesting one is 6.5 for Gavin Cromwell. Connor Stonewall's taking the ride. This horse actually came second in the 2 mile novices last year, the one that was run today. What's called the Dawn Run, isn't it? It's called. Came fourth to Woodoo at Christmas. For all Woodoo didn't run as well as she can do at that Christmas meeting, still won. That was a solid piece of form, was there until towards the last before the class told. Gets in off 10 stone 11. Connor Stone Walsh has had a great week, great win on the likes of Final Orders this week and other good runs. So he takes 3 off as well. 6.5, there's got a lot going for him here. Looking at one of the bigger prices before we get to the selection, one who I thought that would be a smaller price, but actually isn't, is Willie the Builder for Christian Williams and Jack Tudor, currently 66-1. He's had 2 wins at Kempton this year, and also in his last run came 4th in the Scottish County Hurdle, doing all of his best work at the finish. I think this course will actually suit. Will need to step up, but 10 stone 10's a nice weight. Jack Tudor takes the ride, And if he steps up again, he could outrun that 50-1 odds, I think. I think that is overpriced. As I said, he was doing all of his best work at the finish. But for the selection, I am actually going for the other Skelton string, and that is horse number 21, Tell Her the Name. Keelan Woods is riding for Dan Skelton. Gets in off 10 stone 5. This is his debut for the Skeltons. Now, what I think is interesting here, last year, on the 2 runs where he wasn't pulled up, made a terrible mistake on 1, 4th and 5th in handicaps, staying on at the end, looked decent. On his last run, came 3rd. Again, looking tenderly handled. From what I've heard, there was some type of disagreement with the owners, because he went to, I think it was Ben Paulin for that run, then left there quite quickly, come to Dan Skelton, and then it's interesting, there's been no, I've checked this today, there's been no injury, setbacks or anything. No run for 148 days. Dan Skelton does have a habit of doing that when he thinks, after a good amount of work, I've got a well-handicapped one here. Interestingly enough with this, not entered for any other race at the festival, only this race. The ground should be fine for it. 10 stone 5, and has experience in big fields. So I think at 11-1 now, I think that will go off a lot shorter myself. And I think that's my idea of the winner. 1, 2, 3 then for the county hurdle. I'm going to go with Tell Her the Name from Carbo. And I'm also going to put in Sinatra in there as well. In the 440, which we move on to now, that is the Mers Chase. Now, this market has been very interesting because Dino Blue, I thought, was going to go odds on for this earlier the week. Instead, she has drifted a hell of a lot and out to 2-1 at this moment in time. Dino Blue was twice flattered to deceive at the festival. Run poorly in a Grand Annual, came runner-up in this race in 2004 when beaten at a very short price, but did go 1 better last year and ran really well. She's solid. Willie Mullins' yard's on fire. She goes well at the course, sometimes can flatter to deceive. And my other slight concern I've got, and you're going to think this is nuts, but it is, her sire is Dr. Dino. Dr. Dino horses for me, and I encourage you to go and look it up. Look at the win percentages when those horses are between 4 and 8. And then look at it from 8+. The win rate seems to drop. It's crazy. It might just be coincidence, but that does worry me. What also worries me as well is I don't believe the Mers Chase last year is as good as the Mers Chase this year. So she will have to be back to, at the very, very least, the form she was at last year. And you know what? She's run well this season. 4 races, 3 wins. And that's, that's a very solid piece of form. But for me, there is an improver in this field, and that is Panic Attack for Harry and Dan Skelton. I don't know what's gone on with this form. She looked half decent last year, but this year has suddenly just gone and won the big 2 handicaps over course and distance in the summer. The November handicap, the Paddy Power 1 equivalent, you know what I mean? They've all got different names now. Over this trip, won both really, really well. Now, interestingly enough, she gets £3 off Dino Blue and also £5 off Spindlebury, who we'll get to in a minute. So we've got a horse for a yard in form, receiving weight, has proven course and distance, and I think the ground has come right and is rapidly improving as well. Currently 3-1. I think this is my idea of the winner. Just at the moment from Dino Blue. Now, Spindlebury was a horse that I fancied for this for a lot of the year. Won the first 2 really, really takingly. Won the win before his last run was at Doncaster, I think. Jumped and travelled amazing. Made 1 big mistake. Snapped back on the bridle. Really, really impressive. But was pulled up in the Irish Gold Cup last time out. Now, my concern I've got on this, I must be honest, is that was a really, really hard race just 5 weeks ago. 5.5 weeks ago. But this is obviously a lot easier. and she was 5 from 5 over fences before. I think she'll run really, really well, provided that run hasn't taken the gloss off her. Only by Night is interesting. This horse in here, Only by Night, came runner-up in the Arkle last year behind Django Bay, who is currently one of the co-favourites for the Gold Cup. So that suggests how strong that piece of form could be. Granted, Madgeborough that day came third and obviously completely bombed in the champion chase, but has been very, very solid this year. Won a Grade 3 at Naas. Been highly tried in the 2 other races, but run with credit. And you would have to say Only by Night, stepping up to this trip, must have a chance. The trip is still the unknown. Is she just a proper 2-miler, or can she handle this trip? July Flower is interesting here for Henry de Bromhead and Dara O'Keefe. She won the Arkle trial here in November. I actually tipped it up on the WhatsApp service that day, if those who were on it remember, and she won really, really well. However, the run since then wasn't quite as good, if I'm being honest. The form of that Arkle trial has not been particularly great and probably needs to step up yet again for all Henry de Bromhead can, get one ready for this one, really. And then the final one to mention here is for Ben Paul and Ben Jones taking the ride, which is Diva Luna. Easily won 2 listed chases on the last 2 starts. Is a course and distance winner on a good weight. This is obviously fundamentally more difficult, but at 7 years old, I reckon there could still be a lot of improvements in it. And I think Diva Luna, I would not put anyone off on that, backing her. For all the form in the book doesn't amount to a great deal, but she could be anything after only the 2 runs over fences. 1, 2, 3 then for the Mers Chase, Panic Attack from Dino Blue, and I'm actually going to put in Diva Luna as well. I think there could just be a little bit more left in the tank with her. Which brings us to the 320, which is one of my hated races of the week, which is the Albert Bartlett. 3-mile Grade 1 hurdle, 22 runners. It's absolute madness, this race. Now, the favourite for a very long time in this has been Dr. Steinberg, Willie Mullins, Paul Townend taking the ride. And you can understand why. 3 for 3 over hurdles, won a Grade 1. But my concern I've got on this horse is he is unbelievably keen in his races, tanks through it, but must have some engine. The step up to 3 miles and the hill at Cheltenham is going to be a completely different test altogether. For all, he is a very worthy favourite. The Devil again, those on the WhatsApp service will remember that when I tipped him up at Doncaster on the latest one, and Julia Blige, Paul Nolan, Sean O'Keefe taking the ride, Grade 2 winner at the trip. And Paul Nolan's horses have been running, like Release the Beast and others, been running really, really well without quite hitting the mark. Run to a level of 143, so clearly needs improvement off level weights, but could still have a little bit more left in the tank. Had the 4 runs this year, never finished out the first 2. The trip is no problem for this one. Very, very solid horse. There's been a bit of money for Money Garrow here for the Skeltons, has won over the trip, and in a big field. So the trip and everything else is no dangers for it. Only run up to a level of 133, which leaves him over a 1.5 stones to find. But by Shan 2, as I said, Marchand 2 today didn't really go on the faster ground like I suspected. There should be rain around overnight, so if there is, that will bring Money Garrow a bit more into it, to be honest. Mondui Boy for the Ben Paulin, Ben Jones combo again is interesting here. 2 for 2 over hurdles. He's really well thought of by the yard, especially for going chasing next year. By Castle de Burley, so the step up and trip shouldn't be a problem, but again, only run to a 134 mark. And others have run to a lot better standard at this moment in time. Now, Spinning a Yarn is interesting for Gordon Elliott and Jack Kennedy. This would have been my selection if the ground came up bottomless, because I was really, really impressed with how this horse has finished off its last 2 runs. Always running on at the end over a shorter trip and looked to be screaming out for 3 miles. However, as things stand, I don't think we're going to get the really soft ground that this horse needs. But if it did come up soft overnight, then I think that one's got a very, very live chance, but I've got to call it on what we've got now. And at the moment, I suspect it might not be quite soft enough for it. But, excuse me, for the selection, I'm actually going for the Passing Wife for Gavin Cromwell, Keith O'Donoghue taking the ride. Keith O'Donoghue, God, I know he's Irish, but God, Keith Donoghue taking the ride. This horse is one last time out and seems to just be gradually coming to the boil, bypassing Glance as well. So the further this horse goes, the better. Was right behind the Devil You Know in a maiden earlier this season. And Devil You Know that day seemed to just win it on speed, not stamina, with the Passing Wife closing up. Last time out, though, with this horse, it travelled really well, hit the front and really powered clear nicely. I was really taken with that performance just under 7 weeks ago. Now, this is the fascinating part about this. This horse was supplemented for this race earlier this week at the cost of a pretty penny. Now, it was meant to be going for the Martin Pipe hurdle, which is the last race of the festival. Doesn't look as good as usual this year, and I think that one, at that trip guaranteed, would have been a shoe-in at a bit of a lesser race. However, to supplement the horse and put it straight into this 3-mile trip in a Grade 1 suggests that this horse has come on a lot. And at 7 years old, obviously, there could be a hell of a lot more improvement to come. So at the likely prices, the Passing Wife currently 9-1. Many bookmakers on this paying top 5 or top 6. I think that rates a really strong selection. 1, 2, 3 then for the Albert Bartlett, the Passing Wife from the Devil You Know. And do you know what? I'm actually going to put in Money Garrow into there because I think, and I can hear the rain hitting my conservatory, I think the rain's going to come and that one could end up running a good race. Which now brings us obviously on to the 4 o'clock. It's the showcase of the day, the highlight of the week. And that is the Boodles Cheltenham Gold Cup. Grade 1, 3-mile, 2 and a bit furlongs. And one of the legendary races of all time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk you through each of the horses and then go back to 1, 2, 3. Towards the head of the market, we've got the Jukebox Man. Literally a brilliant performance in the King George. The way he rallied suggests he really, really stayed the trip out well. Kept fresh for this since. Won on his comeback from injury last time really well. Unbeaten over fences. 8 years old, looks to have a superb chance. Gaelic Warrior, Willie Mullins, Paul Townend, just behind in a blanket finish in the King George before an excellent second at the Dublin Racing Festival behind, I think it was Factor File, has won the Aintree Bowl over 3 mile to suggest there should be some confidence he'd get this ultra extended trip, even though that's a different course. And he is very, very tough and consistent. Haiti Colours for Rebecca Curtis, Sean Bowen, had a magnificent season, 3 out of 4 wins. He seems to be progressing well, and last time out put him arguably his best performance of the season. The question is the ground going to be soft enough for him? Django Bay is in here, was favourite, now on the drift slightly here. Again, came very close in that blanket finish in the King George. Won the Arkle last year over 2 mile with a power pack finish, and there seems to be a degree of optimism that this ultra extended trip of 3 mile 2 will suit him. I know the way you're thinking, the reigning champion, Gavin Cromwell, Mark Walsh, obviously a brilliant winner from Galloping Des Champs last year, has shown absolutely nothing at all, however, so far this season, and also took a crunching fall last time. Grey Dawning, winner of the Betfair Chase, and an excellent, I won't say an excellent, a very decent third in the Cotswold Chase last time out. Very solid horse. Has obviously won at the festival and over course and distance before, and good chance of staying. Spillane Tower, JJ Mangan, Harry Cobden ran a really, really good race to win the Cotswold Chase last time, has shown glimpses of form Whether he's up to winning this is another matter. The legend is back, and that is Envoir Allen. 3 different Cheltenham Festival wins to his name, and came back 132 days ago with his only run and duly won again. Kept fresh for this, now 12 years old. It's fantastic to finally see him running in the big one. Firefox, Gordon Elliott, Jack Kennedy, currently 40-1. Shown glimpses of form throughout this season, but was beaten a long way in the Irish Gold Cup. Lompresse came back. Tell you what, Venetia Williams has done well to bring him back from a horrible injury. He's a 3 times course winner. Runner-up on all starts this year, including Spillane Tower. Would need to somehow find another gear at 11. And gold tweeters in here for Gabriel Linders, Claude Favrev taking the ride. He looks like he's got absolutely no chance, if I'm being honest. It'll be the biggest upset in racing history if he was to win. But going into more detail here, I think, and it's not a big shot in the dark, I have a feeling this is going to come down to the front 2 in the market, the Jukebox Man and Gaelic Warrior, and I am just siding with the Jukebox Man. I was so taken with that performance at Kempton. The way he travelled, the way he jumped, and yet he got headed. But what I liked is he was getting attacked on all sides, and he kept finding. He got headed after the last, kept finding and came back again and got up on the line, deliberately kept fresh for this. Now, that Irish Gold Cup that Gaelic Warrior won in, that turned into a proper slog, that. And I just think a fully fresh Jukebox Man who holds a victory over Gaelic Warrior, I do honestly think he will stay the trip up the hill. That is the one and only question. He's by Ask, who has loads of stamina in his bloodline, shall we say. He's been kept fresh for this. The Poland Yard seem keen. And as I said, there's nothing between him and Gaelic Warrior. Gaelic Warrior, you can set your watch by into it. I just don't know if the 2 recent... because it was a battle at the King George, then there was another battle in the Irish Gold Cup. He's tough, but will it just give a slight edge to the Jukebox Man? I think very, very possibly so. I know the way you're thinking. There's been non-stop money for this, and I get that they might have worked on his back, and I get that they might have pulled something out the fire, and it can be done. Look at Ilate Tomp this week, but that form this season is just too bad to be taking 8-1 on him at this moment in time. So I'm thinking about making up the weights here. The one who I'm going to put in to make up the 1, 2, 3 here, I'm actually going to put Grey Dawning into it because he's going into this a little bit fresher than he has been in the past. The ground's not going to be bottomless, and I can see Grey Dawning running on for a place here. So 1, 2, 3 then for the Cheltenham Gold Cup, the Jukebox Man from Gaelic Warrior and Grey Dawning. Moves us on to the 440, which is the Hunter Chase, which is the Amateur Riders Gold Cup. And this is really, really tricky race. A lot of the old boys are back. Last year's winner, Wonderwall, is back at 10 years old. Obviously, just touched off last year on the line. It's on the line, who's reopposing today, who must be thinking, what have I got to do to win this race? He's come second the last 3 years in a run. Come back this season with 2 wins, and he is looking very, very primed for another attack on this race. Still only 9 years old. I think It's on the Line has a great chance. Now, Wonderwall has not been seen for 364 days since he last won this race. It was considered a shock that day, even though he's got good form here. I know they wanted to come here fresh, but damn, a year off to come straight to Cheltenham and win, that will be a hell of a training performance, if I don't say so myself. Cons Rock is interesting here. Terence O'Brien, Dara Allen taking the ride. 2 runs this year have both been really Because I'm looking at Scirocco on the breeding. The 2 runs here have both been really solid. Sired by Scirocco, so loads of stamina in here. Hasn't hit the heights of the likes of, in terms of rating, the likes of It's on the Line. He's got about £8-9 to fine. But this is a very lightly raced horse who could be anything. So I would not discourage you at all from looking at that one. Statler is interesting here. He obviously won the Kim Muir, the 4 miler, I think it was, a few years ago. Really, really strong stayer. Now moved yards from Willie Mullins to Faye Bramley. Warmed up with a nice couple of efforts in point to point. He will be staying on, but will he have enough left in the tank at 11, rising 12 now? To go in here. He should run his race, however. Chemical Energy is interesting here. He used to be very, very high class. Obviously has struggled for the last few years. Could have easily won the 4 miler about 3 years ago. If you remember my video that year, and I always remember this one, I tipped up Galliard Dumini, who won. And he ran an absolute blinder in second. Has won at the course before and has shown a lot of liking for Cheltenham. He's been running in points to get his confidence back, but it's still a hell of an ask now, back over rules, to suddenly jump into overdrive and go, yeah, we're going to go and win this one now. Now, the favourite in this one is Panda Boy, who I was gutted at. You'll remember the other year, I really wanted this one to run at the festival, and they pulled him out, and I was absolutely devoed that day when they did it because the ground wasn't soft enough. My problem is here, is the ground going to be soft enough again? He's a very, very good chaser. Won really well in recent Hunter chases. Form at the course has to be taken on a great deal of, what's it called, hope, I suppose you'd say. But Panda Boy is a very, very good horse. And Martin Brazel as well, very good trainer with Hunter chasers. But for the win, I think it's going to be the year of It's on the Line. 3 seconds, still only 9. Come back with 2 really good wins. Ground is perfect. Derek O'Connor taking the ride. I just think he's got everything going for him. But I think Panda Boy, if he takes to Cheltenham more, will really give him a scare, or at least put up a good challenge. 1, 2, 3 then for the Hunter chase. It's on the Line from Panda Boy, and I'm actually going to put in Cons Rock as well. I think he could have a little bit more improvement to come. Which brings us to the 520, and the 520 is the finale, the end of the best 4 days of the year. And that is the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys Handicap Hurdle. Very tough race as always. This race, usually I say you need something. Like, this race could unearth like a next future star. I'm not sure, if I'm being totally honest with you, that this year's renewal on paper looks as good as other years. But in the years that follow, we'll find out. As always, Willie Mullins has pretty much half the field, which is about standard practice, isn't it? And he has got the favourite here, which is Kel Histoire. Michael Keneally taking the ride. Only 6 years old.